Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. A quick request to ensure smooth running of the session. I request those of you who have joined us on Zoom to keep your mics on mute and your videos switched off. I'd also like to let you know this discussion is being streamed live to Facebook and will be available on the IHS YouTube channel for viewing after this event. If you'd like to receive updates on future events and discussions, please do register with us. For those of you on Zoom, the link is in the chat box. And for those on Facebook, the link can be found in the comment section of this video. So the film we're discussing today is Mod Bhang. I hope all of you have had a chance to watch it. I'll quickly read out the synopsis for those of you who have not been able to watch it. Mod Bhang is a participatory documentation of the small-scale creek fishermen in Miria village. While creating a picture of the world of fishermen, it probes into and stylizes the idea of the documenting filmmaker in various ways. It has been shot in the monsoon of 2018 in the Miria Creek and records the unfolding of people's presence and the work of fishing there. The film has a formal relation to time, both within the narrative and while shooting it. It is the interview as an event in time, which forms the structure of the film. Forming a continuum of my documentation in the Indian village of Miria, Renu says, Mod Bhang, the ebb tide, is the second in a trilogy of films about this place. Miria is my ancestral village on the western coast of India and lies beside the sea. Fishing is one of the main activities of livelihood here. Shooting within Miria as an insider-outsider and negotiating with caste, gender, and cultural politics in the village as a woman filmmaker has been a major part of my work in the past 3 years. So the film is directed by Renu Sawant, who joins us today. A little about Renu. She has tried her hand at journalism, assisting, research, and teaching before filmmaking. She got her film direction diploma from the Film and Television Institute of India in Pune. She received 2 National Film Awards, a Student National Award, and other accolades for her short film projects while she was at the Film Institute. Renu has made her first long documentation film called Many Months in Miria during an early career fellowship from the School of Media and Cultural Studies at TIS in Mumbai. This film was well received with the John Abraham National Award from the Kerala State Chalachitra Academy in 2017 and an invitation to be a part of the Yokohama Triennale in 2020. She has made another film in Miria village, Maharashtra, a documentary called Mod Bhang, the one we're going to discuss today, through a film fellowship from the Public Service Broadcasting Trust in New Delhi. Mod Bhang was selected in the Next Masters Long Documentary Competition section at Doc Leipzig, the 62nd International Leipzig Festival for Documentary and Animated Film. So at IHS, we've started screening films in 2012, and since then we've actually screened over 90 films. We took a small break when the lockdown was announced, and in May we resumed the screening and discussions in this new format. So this is our third discussion with a filmmaker, but this is also a first for us because in addition to the filmmaker, we have many others from the team who have joined us today. We have the camera person, Sunaina Singh. We have Shubham, who will join us in a bit, who was in the film. We have 2 of the actors, Mansi and Sachin. And we also have Omkar, who assisted Renu. So Renu, thank you so much for sharing your film with us and for joining us for this discussion as well. So if I could ask you, so this work comes out of the first film you made, Many Months in Miria. So could you share a little bit about that film so that the viewers have more of a context of where Mod Bhang comes from? You'll have to unmute yourself.
Miria is my ancestral village from my father's side. And when I passed out of the institute, I sort of went to, I had applied for the early career fellowship. And can I just say that Shubham, who is from Miria, is here. And I just liked him to, sort of, because he's on a job shift and he has to leave quickly. So if he'll just say hi to all of us, and
Yes.
I'll ask him a couple of questions. शुभम तुझा ऑडिओ अनम्यूट कर ना. ओके आहेस तू? ऐकू येते? ओके. तर आता सगळे जेव्हा फिल्म बघतात तर पहिली गोष्ट म्हणजे सगळे तुझ्याकडे बघतायत तर तू त्यांना हॅलो कर. आणि
Hello, sir.
आणि आपले टीम मेंबर्स पण दिसत असतील तुला बाकीचे. तर सगळे जेव्हा फिल्म बघतात तेव्हा त्यांच्या मनात असा प्रश्न येतो की तू
हा
आता काय करतोयस, तर तू आता काय करतोयस ते सांग सगळ्यांना.
आता मी आपल्या जॉब वरती आहे.
हा.
आणि आता आमचं माशांचं फीडिंग म्हणजे खाद्य जे माशांना आपण टाकतो त्या गोष्टी आता आपल्या चालू आहेत.
हिंदीत बोलता येईल?
हाँ, मैं अभी जॉब पर हूँ. अभी मेरा जो जॉब का जो शेड्यूल है, अभी फीडिंग टाइम हमारा है चालू. वो फिश को और क्रैब को हम फीडिंग करते हैं और ट्रैश फिश करके और फिश का फ्लैश है जो हम फीड करते हैं उधर. वही चालू है हमारा फीडिंग का.
आणि अजून एक प्रश्न विचारते तुला, की जेव्हा तुला आम्ही भेटलो क्रू म्हणून, मी आणि ओमकार, तर
हाँ
तुझ्या मनात काय आलं म्हणून तू या फिल्मचा पार्ट बनायला तयार झालास? हिंदीमध्ये सांग.
हाँ
आपके
मेरे को
कुछ
अब मेरा फर्स्ट टाइम था वही जो होने वाला था. इसलिए और मेरे मन की बात मेरे को बोलने की थी. वही हम लोग जो कर रहे हैं अभी कोस्ट लाइन में. और मेरे पास वही वो क्या चांस आया था. अ, वो इसीलिए मैं ज्वाइन हुआ अभी उधर. और मेरे को थोड़ा आइडिया था कि वो कैसा
किसमें
था
ज्वाइन
कैसा
हुआ?
था. हाँ मैडम.
किसमें ज्वाइन हुआ?
ये हमारे फिल्म में आपके वो
हाँ
जो हो रही थी ना,
हाँ हाँ
ये
हाँ.
इसमें वो ज्वाइन हुआ मैं.
हम्म.
अभी मेरा जॉब भी कुछ कुछ नहीं था. और इसी के फिल्म में अभी कुछ इंटरव्यू दे के अभी मेरा जॉब जॉब का चांस हुआ तो इसलिए मैं अभी वो ज्वाइन हुआ था.
ओके ओके. तो अभी क्या है शिफ्ट में, अभी और क्या बाकी है आज के दिन में?
अभी वो खत्म हो गया. अभी फीडिंग होके
हम्म.
अभी हम लोग घर पे जाएंगे.
ओके
हाँ.
ओके. तो मैंने इसलिए तुमको आज बुलाया क्योंकि सब लोग जब फिल्म देखते हैं तो सब
हाँ.
लोगों को तुम बहुत अच्छे लगते हो, और वो लोग पूछते हैं कि ये लड़का क्या कर रहा है अभी,
थैंक
इसको जॉब मिल गया क्या, इसका क्रैब का जो बिजनेस का प्लान था वो कैसे चल रहा है?
अभी बिजनेस का प्लान किया नहीं. अभी कोरोना का सब चालू है. मैं चालू करने वाला था अभी करंट ईयर में. पर ये कोरोना जो वायरस आया है इसलिए मेरा कुछ हो नहीं रहा है. अभी
हम्म.
मेरे को मटेरियल भी नहीं मिल रहा है. सब कुछ प्रॉब्लम चल रहे हैं. इसीलिए
ठीक है
मैं अभी जॉब पर ही ध्यान देते हैं.
ठीक आहे ठीक आहे.
बाद
ओके
में कर.
शुभम, ठीक आहे. तुला अजून काही बोलायचं असेल तर बोल, नाही तर मग आम्ही कंटिन्यू करतो, कारण तुला जायचंय म्हणून सगळी लोक तुझं ऐकण्यासाठी म्हणून आधी पहिला तुझा विषय काढला. ठीक आहे.
नाही तर 5 मिनिटं थांबू शकतो. काही नाही काय असेल तर.
ओके, मग आम्ही कंटिन्यू करतो. ओके.
हो हो
सो
हो.
आय विल रिटर्न टू यशोधरा's question about many months in media, and uh, uh, also that many months in media started off as a like a kind of a video diary. So um, it's more of a video journal, and it's sort of it's about a technique more than a subject actually, and it's about the technique of uh, uh, documenting something, documenting images, and then also sort of the canvas of that film is also quite big. So then uh, yeah, that's what I can say. I mean, is that I've kind of lost the track now.
So can you tell us, I mean, so that was sort of the first attempt, if I could say that, of where you were documenting with a particular motive, and then Modbhang came after that. So could you tell us how sort of did Modbhang sort of grow out of that experience of and that kind of documentation, or was that something you wanted to do anyway, or where did Modbhang come from?
Okay, so what happened is that through many months in media, I actually got more and more engaged with this place, with the village. And because Shubham is there, I'll also speak half in Hindi if you don't mind. Okay, so for me, documenting is more about I think that, okay, when we produce images and when there is a fictional image there, it also records something. It's a trace of that time. And then, so documenting becomes about not only just about that image, but also the time that you sort of, time that you see recorded. So when I was in Miria, I didn't need to think that, um, that is this, the structure radiating off from the axis of the fact that I am in Miria, and it was about the fact that you sort of, whatever you record in that time is going to be what is going to be a part of the time that is passing in Miria. So I'm recording that, and then also I followed some framework rules. So I would follow characters, or I would interview them over a certain over a certain period of time. So what happened is that a story emerged, and it was really a certain emerging that I saw, in spite of myself, that that the way time got woven in. And then, for example, three characters spread out in the village, how they are talking about the same thing that's happening in the village. So then that was also a key sort of element in this whole sort of layout. It was a layout of shooting, and then the film emerged from that. Now what happened in Modbhang is that it was a very directed documentary. It was a commissioned film from PSBT, whereas the TIS film was also commissioned, but it was more of a sort of a, I was given a lot more freedom to sort of do, just to even say that this film is 4 hours is a big thing. But I took Modbhang as a different, it came as a fresh experience to me, because it was supposed to be, there was a time limit. And so then what happened is that then when you narrow down the time and you narrow down, the space and the people, then it just becomes like you become like a lens to trace through what's happening at a specific place at a specific time, so by the time I was making Modbhang, I was still quite engaged in the place. I felt like I can go on telling stories. So this is what I was doing. But because it was about a specific place, it had a duration limit. It sort of took on its own shape, which is very different than the previous film.
And so this shape that you're talking about, was it conscious? Because the shape is quite different from Many Months in Miria, right? So like you said, like this is a lot more directed. So probably we can bring in people from the crew and others here of what they imagined this film to be like, when they were starting to work on it, or what they wanted to sort of do with it. So perhaps we can start with Sunaina. Sunaina has a really wide range of work over many, many years now. So Sunaina, if you could tell us what your motivation was to be a part of this film, and it's also a particular kind of environment you're shooting in, so how you prepared for it or how you planned for it.
Actually, taking from my motivation was definitely being with Renu. But taking from when Renu mentioned this project, and then I came in, and so I had seen Many Months in Miria. She had shared the film, and when we started working on this, there was already so she shot that film herself, and I think there was already like a structure that she had started developing during Many Months in Miria. And yeah, so I was like somebody coming from outside to her ancestral village and to the people who were being part of the film. So Renu had a very clear approach of how she wanted to shoot the film, and so she shared that with me, and we kind of yeah, I mean, it was more of I'm trying to get into, she was kind of trying to get me welcome into this whole structure that, she was building over so many years of documenting and staying there alone, by herself. So, yeah, I feel, I don't know if I'm answering the question correctly, but yeah,
Yeah.
I felt that the structure came along from the beginning when she had already started working on her previous film, and during, it kind of built a little more and more. So there were like conscious decisions keeping the camera and keeping the height of the tripod to a certain extent, and like a certain height, not overpowering or trying to bring that equality between the character and and the lens that we are shooting from. And yeah, I mean, it was also that whole landscape. It was just yeah, I mean, it was something that we kind of slowly kept discussing during our work there and while shooting as well. Yeah, I forgot the question, but I don't know.
No, I think that's great. Omkar, Mansi.
Can I
Yeah,
just
please.
interrupt? So
Yes.
Sunaina and me, we were both women, and we were, so I just, if she wants to later on, she can speak about, both of us being women and being around there. Not that we ever felt uncomfortable, did we, Sunaina?
No.
We didn't
Mm,
feel uncomfortable.
we didn't feel uncomfortable, but maybe they felt a little
Hmm.
like, a woman entering, and they were quite like, no, I wouldn't say curious, but they were also
They
uh,
were a little interested, curious,
yes, yeah.
as well.
But they were also busy with their own work, but they were
Mhm.
like, like, okay, who are these two women coming and shooting? And yeah,
And some of them were welcoming, some of them were a
yes.
little, very overtly showing their discomfort.
Yeah, I think
Also,
we slowly kind of built up that relationship. You already had one, and then yes, and slowly that relationship kind of became like, you know,
so I will just say that Sunaina is a very director's camera person. So, and her presence is very mild, and she sort of doesn't impose her presence a lot on the field. So that really helps. And the other thing I want to say is that all the shooting that one sees in the film, which is, you get into the sorry, हम लोग कीचड़ में जा रहे हैं शुभम के पीछे, या हम लोग कहीं, तो ओमकार मेरे साथ बहुत पहले से था इसमें, मतलब ये जो हमारा मोड़ भांग फिल्म शुरू हुआ, उसमें ऑलमोस्ट कुछ महीनों पहले से ओमकार ज्वाइन किया था। तो ओमकार ने मेरा बहुत ये देखा है कि लाइक हम लोग कैसे स्ट्रगल कर रहे थे, कैरेक्टर्स आ रहे थे फिर कैंसिल कर रहे थे ये वो, तो ओमकार थोड़ा सा बात करे, अगर बहुत सारा शूटिंग ओमकार ने मैनेज किया है बहुत उससे बहुत स्ट्रॉन्गली। ओमकार अनम्यूट करून सांग ना, तुझा अनुभव सांग, काय तू भेटल्यावर तुला काय वाटलं, किंवा तू का जॉईन केलंस. अनम्यूट नाहीये. हा
हाँ, अनुभव तो यह है, बहुत कुछ सीखने मिला इस फिल्म के प्रोसेस के दौरान, क्योंकि पहले डॉक्यूमेंट्री का शूट मैंने किया नहीं था। इससे पहले मैंने फ्रिक्शन में काम किया था, मैंने किया वेब सीरीज, नाटक, ड्रामा वगैरह। तो मैम से पहले मैं पहली मीटिंग थी, तो बहुत कुछ ऐसा डिफरेंस बातें हुई मैम से कि ऐसा कुछ करने वाले हैं हम, डॉक्यूमेंट्री मेरा विलेज के ऊपर, सी के ऊपर। तो मुझे भी ऐसा कुछ डॉक्यूमेंट्री का पहला अनुभव था, इसलिए मुझे भी इंटरेस्ट हुआ कि यार कुछ तो अलग सीखने को मिलेगा इनके प्रोसेस के दौरान। तो रिसर्च तो बहुत की, बहुत लोगों से मिले हम, लेकिन बहुत पेशेंस से काम करना पड़ता था। मतलब कोई लोग कुछ टाइम देते तो कुछ कभी-कभी ये टाइम देते तो कब अपने काम में चले जाते थे, हमें नहीं टाइम देते थे, इसलिए तो हमारा काम रुक जाता था। तो फिर शूटिंग का प्लानिंग ऐसे प्लानिंग प्री प्लानिंग नहीं हुआ शूटिंग, मतलब हाई टाइड लो टाइड के हिसाब से हमें शूटिंग रखना पड़ता था। कभी 2 बजे या सुबह 3:30 बजे ऐसा उठ के भागना पड़ता था, क्योंकि वो फिशरमैन तब आते थे ना, लो टाइड हाई हाई टाइड के हिसाब से वो आते थे उधर मच्छी पकड़ने। तो उस हिसाब से हमें प्लानिंग करना पड़ता था कि कब जाना है शूटिंग में फौरन। तो फिर कुछ सीन ऐसे थे कि बारिश में हमें लेने थे, तो बारिश में उठ के रात को शूट किया हमने। तो ये पहले मेरे साथ ऐसा नहीं हुआ, मतलब ये कुछ प्री प्लान से हम करते थे, मतलब डे टू डे शूटिंग का टाइम। तो इस शूट डॉक्यूमेंट्री में बहुत कुछ अलग, मतलब भागना पड़ा, बहुत बहुत भागना पड़ा और पेशेंस से काम करना पड़ा था, क्योंकि कुछ लोग हमसे मतलब कब कब गुस्से भी हो जाते थे, मतलब क्या हमारा टाइम वगैरह वगैरह कुछ उनका काम रुक जाता था हमारे वजह से, हम उनके पीछे पीछे जाते थे। तो वो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग था वो प्रोसेस शूटिंग का।
मानसी और सचिन ने इसमें फिक्शनल काम किया है, एक्चुअली सेमी फिक्शनल। तो ये, और अगर वो लोग अगर मानसी अगर डू यू वांट टू आस्क मानसी समथिंग स्पेसिफिक?
Yeah, I mean, if they can also just talk about
अनुभव उनके,
their experience.
Okay. So रेनू मैम ने मुझे जब पहले बताया कि वो डॉक्यूमेंट्री करने वाली है, आई वॉज वेरी एक्साइटेड बिकॉज जैसा ओमकार ने कहा, मैंने भी पहले ड्रामा और वेब सीरीज में काम किया था। डॉक्यूमेंट्री वाज माय फर्स्ट एक्सपीरियंस, सो आई वाज रियली वेरी एक्साइटेड एंड देयर वाज नो एनी, मतलब कुछ प्री प्लान नहीं था, सब कुछ इट इज ऑलरेडी डिपेंड्स ऑन नेचर। जैसे नेचर मतलब हाई टाइड लो टाइड होती थी, हम शूट कर लेते थे। और as an actor we used to script, but in documentary there was no script. So I was like, oh, there is no script, okay. And Renu ma'am just give me idea what she exactly wants from me, but जब हमने शूट करना शुरू किया तो कुछ दिनों बाद मुझे ऐसा हुआ कि क्या चल रहा है, मैं क्या कर रही हूँ, मैं बहुत कंफ्यूज हो गई और मैं ब्लैंक हो गई। तो रेनू मम ने मुझे कहा, अरे क्यों ऐसा हो रहा है, तुम कंफ्यूज मत हो, तुम जो कर रही हो वो अच्छा कर रही हो, यू आर डूइंग जस्ट ग्रेट। तो जस्ट बी कूल, जस्ट बी काम, और जो तुम्हारे सराउंडिंग में हो रहा है बस उसको रिएक्ट करो, जस्ट बी नेचुरल, डोंट गो एक्टिंग करने की कोशिश मत करो, जस्ट बी नेचुरल। So after all, she is captain of ship, so I just follow her instructions and उसके बाद मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मुझे पता चला कि मुझे क्या करना है। so काफी अलग एक्सपीरियंस था, I like it.
Thank you. Sachin?
हाँ, तो मुझे जब ओमकार ने बताया कि मैं तो वेब सीरीज की एक शूटिंग कर रहा था और ओमकार का फोन आया कि मैम आपको बुलाने वाली है, कुछ शूटिंग है डॉक्यूमेंट्री का, और मैम ने ऑडिशन के लिए बुलाया। तो एक सीन था फिक्शन, और राज ने वो लिखा था जो मेरे साथ काम कर रहा है उस डॉक्यूमेंट्री में। तो मैंने पढ़ा और मैम ने कहा कि तुम आओ कल से शूटिंग के लिए आ जाओ। और वो जो हमारा सीन था वो तो शूट ही नहीं हो रहा था, क्योंकि पानी भर रहा था क्रैक में। हम जब शूट करने जाते थे तो पानी भर जाता था। तो सुनैना मैम कैमरा लेके, और वो वेद सर थे हमारे साउंड रिकॉर्डिस्ट, वो भी बड़ा सा बूम लेके हम सब भाग के किनारे पे आ जाते थे। तो 2-3 दिन लग गए वो सीन खत्म होने के लिए। और जब हमने खत्म किया उसका शूटिंग, तब तो घुटनों तक पानी आ रहा था, हम बाहर निकले शूटिंग खत्म करके। तो शूटिंग का एक्सपीरियंस तो अच्छा ही रहा, लेकिन मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा था कि कैसे दिखेगी ये फिल्म, और ये डॉक्यूमेंट्री है, फिर फिक्शन कैसे होगा इसमें। और रेणु मैम भी कुछ बोलती नहीं थी, तो मैं काफी परेशान हो गया था। लेकिन जब मैंने डॉक्यूमेंट्री को देखा तब मुझे पता चला कि बहुत ही अच्छा हुआ है और अप्रिसिएशन भी मिला, तो मुझे बहुत ही अच्छा अनुभव।
So maybe what we can do now is I'll play the first clip we're watching. The clip that Sachin is in, I think, is the next clip we can watch. But maybe I'll play the first clip and then we can talk a little bit about that. So I'm just going to share my screen in a second.
हे इथं आपलं जाळं आहे तिथपासून पुढे.
कुठे?
हे ते समोरचं दिसतंय ना
बांध.
थर्मोकॉलचं हे छोटंसं.
हां.
हा तिथपासून इकडे पूर्ण राऊंड असा त्या पाईपच्या पुढ्यातनं तिथपर्यंत जाळं आहे.
मग त्याच्यात बोटी अडकतात.
इथे होडी आमच्याशिवाय कोण चालवू शकत नाही. कारण माहिती जर असेल तरच करू शकतो ते. बहुत छोटा था. क्लॅम दिसला होता मला कुठेतरी.
काय?
क्लॅम बायबोल्स
म्हणजे
मुळा.
मुळा. मला असं वाटलं माझ्या पायावरनं काहीतरी गेलं मगाशी.
त्या छोट्या छोट्या कुर्ल्या असतील जे अशा चिपीवरती वगैरे चढून राहतात ना त्या. ते एकाच जागी राहून
कुठे होतं मगाशी?
त्या काय नाही हातात धरले तरी काय होत नाही. असं वाटतंय कुर्ली भेटेल एक तरी. बघूया जरा फिरून.
शुभम जरा इकडे ये ना.
Renu, if you could take us through how you decided to shoot this sequence like this with an actor speaking with Shubham, and was this conversation something that you had pre-decided with the actor, or how you decided to go about it?
What I do usually is that I plan, so if it's an interview, it's still an event, okay, event in time, huh? And it's not just खाली information नहीं मिल रहा है सिर्फ हमको, उसके आसपास का जो वातावरण है वो भी मिल रहा है, उसमें जो लोग बात कर रहे हैं उनका somehow personality का कुछ trace आ रहा है. जैसे शुभम कैसे कितना कॉन्सेंट्रेटेडली वो उस मैंग्रोव में जाके ढूंढ रहा था, या मानसी का जो बॉडी लैंग्वेज है उसमें कि वो इतना यूज्ड टू नहीं है उस स्पेस में से. तो all these things you are recording, this is what I feel. And so when I planned to talk to शुभम से बात करने की जब हमारा प्लानिंग हुआ, तो मुझे ऐसे लगा कि उसमें शुभम के साथ मेरे बात करने से ज्यादा उसी मानसी रत्नागिरी की है, तो कोई रत्नागिरी का हो और शुभम उधर ही का है, मतलब तो मुझे ऐसे लगा कि this is like an intervention in the space, in the frame, you know, where I'm placing a character there, and then that character and that the subject of the interview, who was Shubham, so they both will kind of you know, they both will make up the conversation, okay. And if it is a conversation which is not exactly as I want it, jaise ki you know, that it's not that she's asking exactly what I want, there is nothing called exactly, you know. And we were moving in that whole big space. हम लोग बहुत बड़ी, वो जो शुभम हमको लेके गया था खाड़ी में, तो वो बहुत ही vast space है. तो उसमें हम लोग घूम रहे हैं, तो ऑब्वियसली स्पेस का और टाइम का कुछ आएगा। तो मुझे बस यही चाहिए था कि ये दोनों इंटरैक्ट करें, और मानसी को मैंने ये थोड़ा सा बताया था कि आप इंफॉर्मेशन के लिए पूछो, लेकिन कोई ऐसा खास इंफॉर्मेशन है नहीं जो हमको उसको पूछना है और वो बताएगा, और वो आपके बॉडी लैंग्वेज और आपका जैसे वहां पे है उसी में से जो इंफॉर्मेशन रेलेवेंट है वो आ जाएगा, so putting Mansi in there is not really she's not really representing me as such, but it's more a case of an intervention in the frame. So this is how I went, and then there is a fictionality which is there in the whole film in a way, where Sachin and Raj, when they shot then that scene, Sachin और Raj का scene जब आता है, तब वो तो पूरा ही fiction है, वो राज ने लिखा हुआ scene है, राज उसी मीडिया का ही लड़का है, और so that is a completely fictional scene. फिर बाद में जब ये एंड ऑफ द फिल्म एक कैरेक्टर आता है फॉक्स का, तो वो पूरा ही फिक्शनल है. तो इस सब में जो what I wanted to do is that the women characters in the film come across as either completely fictional or semi-fictional, that they are intervening playfully. That's all. I mean, there wasn't more that a character is being developed. ऐसा नहीं था. So there is that playfulness which I wanted to get in.
I think we
And
can
maybe-
now, yeah, please.
Sorry. Maybe I thought Mansi and Shubham might like to talk about. शुभम, तुला काय त्या आपण जो सीन शूट केला खाडीमध्ये त्याच्याबद्दल काय बोलावं असं वाटतं का, की म्हणजे तू रोजच त्या खाडीत फिरतोस, तर सीन शूट करणं अवघड होतं का, किंवा मानसी प्रश्न विचारत होती तर तुला मजा आली का सीन शूट करायला, किंवा काय वाटलं?
हाँ, मेरे को बहुत अच्छा लगा, वो कुछ पूछ रहा है और मेरे को कुछ बताने के लिए बहुत अच्छा लग रहा था, क्योंकि हमारा जो इंफॉर्मेशन है वो सब लोगों को पता चले, और वो भी ऐसा करने के लिए मजबूर होंगे तो बहुत अच्छा लगेगा. हमारे जैसे भी कुछ लोग अभी उस महाराष्ट्र के बाहर और सब कुछ करने लगेंगे, और हमारा जो कोस्ट लाइन है वो उनका क्या
मुझे
वो
एक
उनका
इसमें एक चीज लगा शुभम, कि जैसे शुभम उसमें बोलता है कि हम लोग छोटे खेकड़े नहीं पकड़ते हैं, तो वो क्यों
हाँ,
बोला तुमने?
वो छोटा खेकड़ा नहीं पकड़ती, लेकिन उसका जो पैसा है ना वो वही नहीं आता, और उनका जो सीड मतलब छोटा बच्चा है ना वो नहीं बढ़ेगा ना. अभी उनका जो क्वांटिटी और सर्वाइवल जो है वो नहीं बढ़ेगा हमारे खाड़ी में, और वो एब्सेंट हो जाएगा पूरा हमारे खाड़ी से. इसलिए मैं उनको नहीं, और हमारे जो खेकड़ा है जो हम लोग पकड़ते हैं उनका जो बड़ा वाला होता है उनका रेट भी ज्यादा होता है, और वो एक या दो मिले ना तो हमारा एक दिन का वो कोटा हो जाता है हमारा. तो हम बस करते हैं और जाते हैं, हम ज्यादा से नहीं रुकते उस एरिया में, क्योंकि वो बहुत थोड़ा हॉरिबल भी है. कुछ होना ही हो जाएगा उस एरिया में, इसलिए हम लोग रुकते नहीं ज्यादा से. इसलिए हमारा जो दिन का हो जाएगा ना तो हम लोग घर पे जाते हैं, रुकते नहीं उधर. और अभी मेरे को भी अच्छा लगा कि उस फिल्म में हम लोग कुछ बता रहे हैं हमारे कोस्ट लाइन में क्या चल रहा है, हमारे उधर का जो पीपल है उनका कैसा दिनक्रम चल रहा है उस खाड़ी में आके, वो क्या कर रहे हैं क्या नहीं कर रहे, कैसा चल रहा है. अब पहला वो मैंग्रोव एरिया था, उसका कंजर्वेशन नहीं हो रहा था. वो कंजर्वेशन नहीं हो रहा था, और उसमें जो केकड़ा है या फिश का बच्चा है वो इधर डेवलप नहीं हो रहा था. अभी वो मैंग्रोव का पेड़ है उसका कंजर्वेशन हो रहा है, इसलिए हम लोगों को कोस्ट लाइन को वो हमारा केकड़ा और मच्छी बहुत मिल रहा है उधर, और दिन का हमारा सुरलित चल रहा है, उसमें चल रहा है हमारा घर का.
Okay, thank you Shubham.
हाँ.
So yeah, if Yashu, I'll pass it on to you now, because I just wanted to get everybody
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah,
So now
yeah.
you can sort of, yeah.
So maybe we can watch the second clip now, and then Sachin can come in on that. And these fictional aspects that you're talking about are also reflected in that. So I'll just share my screen in a second.
आधी माझ्या धंद्यात ना काय पण इंटरेस्ट वाटत नाही.
अरे असं का नाही म्हणजे आपल्या पोरांच्यात मासे गरूक जाण्याची खाज फक्त तुझ्यात जास्त आहे. मासो नाही भेटलो तरी खारा पाणी पियाल्याशिवाय तू चैन पडायची नाही. आणि आता अचानक या धंद्यात तूच इंटरेस्ट नाही.
तसं नाही रे. पूर्वी मासेमारीतून पैसेही कमी मिळायचे आणि मासेमारीचं प्रमाणही कमी होतं. आता माशांना भरमसाठ रेट मिळतोय, पण समुद्रात मासा मिळतोय काय सांग.
अरे मासो मिळात नाही मिळात ह्या सगळ्या लकवर असतात.
लकवर?
हां मग काय, ज्याचा नशीब ताट त्या का मासो मिळता भरमसाठ. तोडणकर बघ माशाच्या जीवावर बंगलो बांधून बसलो, 2 पर्सनेट बांधल्या. त्याच्या घरात हातगाडी नव्हती, आज त्याच्या घरात होडा आहे. आणि आपण साधा फायबरचा एक होडा घेऊ शकत नाही.
हो, त्यांना बांधलं बंगलो, 2 पर्सनेट बांधल्या, एक स्कॉडा सुद्धा घेतली. पण मासा एवढा सगळा असून देखील बँकवाले त्याच्या घरच्या चक्रा का मारत असतात. आणि तो तोडणकर आता माशाच्या नावाने का बोंबलतोय. आणि माशाच्या जीवावर कमवलेला पैसा किती काळ टिकेल.
अरे होय, पण आपण आपलो घरचो धंदो का सोडायचो.
आधी माझ्या चुकीचा वाटता नाही रे, माझ्याने होणार नाही. मी काहीतरी वेगळं बघतो.
I think it's interesting what Shubham was just telling us about the amount of fish in the area now, and the importance of conservation. And that's also what was written in the play by Raj and Renu. So if you could, so there is a sensitivity also of this area that they live in, and sort of, you know, these things we talk about in the larger sense of sustainability and the importance of these things, but they're actually the ones who are practicing it, and also the importance of not getting greedy and things like that. So Renu, could you tell us how you met Raj, or and how you decided to incorporate this in the film?
Raj was, there was a Nukkad Natak in Mirya, and at that point I was just shooting, as in doing my documenting work, in the sense that I was continuing off from many months, you know, because that is so much about documenting and you know, about time. Basically it's like a video journal almost. So I was shooting that, and then there was a play going on the in the common part of the village, and it was a Nukkad Natak, so open air play. And it was I was very surprised that it was a 2-hour play, and I know that it any 2-hour script, you know. I was so surprised to see that Raj was 28 that time, and I don't know what he. I tried to contact him now, but I couldn't find him. So Raj was 28 at that time, and I was very surprised that this one has this guy has written a 2-hour play and sort of produced, set up a production of the entire play. And I think that play was commercially sort of moving around in that district and place. So I think it was quite a achievement, you know, to actually execute a 2-hour script. And so I decided to contact him. And Raj is a very you know, he's sort of a he's a different kind of a character. He little bit roams around a lot. He wanted to come to Bombay. We met in Bombay also later on after the film. But I thought that perhaps it might be interesting, because I want to include a dimension of the place which is now getting more and more complex for me, you know. So apart from the ecology, which I'm not here to comment on ecology, or really, I mean, that wasn't my intention to sort of, my job, I think, is to document or to sort of trace via images the world that we live in. And at that time, I was living in Media. So once I say that, then as soon as you enter such a world, enter Media for me, for example, and then I have been shooting actual images, but then things around me get more and more complex. So now fiction starts entering, because what is a performance and what is not, you know, what is the performance of the people who I'm interviewing, and then how it slowly sort of takes me, you know, from there I go into fiction. So that became important. So then I decided, okay, what if Raj, who has grown up in Media, writes a scene or two scenes. I had actually met him. I met him with Sunaina and Omkar and both these people, and we had gone to meet him. And perhaps they might like to say what they felt about it. But so actually, I said that, will you write two scenes about this topic, fish? And then what he wrote was about, you know, growing up fishing, line fishing, so he just wrote these things, and I kind of felt that, okay, I know that whatever he's going to write is going to be about growing up here, and it's going to be somehow a confrontation with what his traditional community has been doing, you know. And I could see that Raj already has that conflict. So he wants to be a writer, he wants to be a director. I hope he's directing now. But yeah, so I had gone. So Naina, do you remember something about meeting Raj, or what we were talking about the fiction?
Yeah, I remember. I mean, it happened like this. We went to meet him where he was living, and I remember the first time Renu explained what she was doing, and that she's a filmmaker, and then I think slowly Raj also opened up that there's another person who's in the village who's also doing something different. I mean, he wanted to do theater. He is a theater director, and then having a whole conversation कि इधर कोई theater देखता है गांव में कि नहीं, and then he's like, no, not hardly any people watch it. And then
he also said that hardly anybody is interested here.
Yeah, and then in the approach of the when we were shooting him, I think he had the next day or in a few days later he wrote this piece which he narrates in the film, and we shot it. Renu had one of the things that Renu told me, that never follow the characters. Will never follow the people in the film, and you know, like so I mean, like if somebody is going towards a certain direction, don't just like, okay, pan, because that's an immediate, like in certain sense there's an immediate need as a camera person. Okay, look, we are following the person if he's going left or right. So I think that is like the, you know, that's how the vocabulary of the film kind of slowly kind of started building up. And then so we decided to shoot Raj in that office space. Actually, it was an office space where we shot him.
It was, you know, it wasn't an office actually where he's reading out his monologue. It's a government fisheries office. And we were in the outskirts of it. So it's not like an office as we imagine an office to be. It's like a center, meant to be like a center to sell fish in the village. But it's not being
used. Yeah, it was never used. And that was the first, one of the first viewpoints of the creek, where, you know, from distance you can see all the boats going and coming into the mainland, or to the sea. And that's where we see from a further perspective him narrating. And then so I think it came naturally to not follow him but to pan towards the creek. And so I remember this much.
One of the things that I feel is important now, I mean, as this conversation itself is unfolding, is that um, when I say fiction, or when I, ask, say, for example, Mansi or Sachin, or what, I think that what is emerging even for me, even in this conversation, is how to make how to make the filmmaking relevant. Like, I think not relevant in the sense of information, but just more engaging for the people that I'm making it with. It is a question that I kind of grapple with quite often. And yeah, so these are the techniques. But as she's saying, I was thinking that when she said don't pan with the character and all these things, so I think that is the way you kind of undercut the fiction as well. Do you know what I mean? So there is a certain graph that the shot itself is following, this kind of a thing. Yeah.
And would Sachin want to add anything to?
Sorry, Shubham just wants to go, so he's
Yeah,
asking if
sure.
he can go.
Yes, thank you so much for joining.
Okay, Shubham, bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thank
and your
you.
team.
Thank you.
Welcome.
हा सचिन बोल काय म्हणतोस?
मुझे लगता है वो जो फिक्शन सीन है वो जो राज ने लिखा है, तो वो जो दो लड़के हैं, वो जो अभी अभी कॉलेज पास आउट किया है उन्होंने, और वो उन दोनों का नजरिया है उस प्रोफेशन की तरफ देखने का। तो एक कहता है कि हम वही ट्रेडिशनल जो है वो चलाएंगे, तो दूसरा कहता है कि हमारे जो दादा परदादा थे उन्होंने तो ऐसा कुछ किया नहीं था, उन्होंने सिर्फ जीने के लिए उसका इस्तेमाल किया था, और हम अगर बंगला के लिए या गाड़ी लेने के लिए उसी की तरफ देखें तो लिमिटेशंस आएंगे हमें। तो इस तरह का सीन है, और करने में तो बहुत मजा आया राज के साथ। इतना।
Thanks. Okay, so maybe we can look at the last clip we have for today's session, and we can pick up the conversation once we've watched it. I'm just going to share my screen in a second.
लवकरच उतरली होती ती कोली वर माशी कशी ती तोंडात घेऊन पलत होती ते
तोंडात घेऊन गेली
जायत होती तोंडात घेऊन बॅटरी दिसलीत ना तोंडात घेऊन जायत होती
आताच आली वाटतं खाल्लेली असेल
नाही बरेच वेळ आली आहे तिकडे एक मासो नाही त्या फाशी काय करायचं होतं मी त्याची ठेवायचं भैया दिसं सांगायचं चला आपण पुढे जाऊया त्याची सांगायचं याद होती आपण हे करताव काय माशासाठी आमच्या डोकं कधी तेच सांगितलं
जरा इकडे भाऊ जरा इकडे लक्ष ठेवा कोली आहे तिला आम्ही जर त्या वरच्या टप्प्यात ओढून येतो ऐकलं काय ए संदीप तू ह्या जर काहीतरी घे इकडे थांबली की
देखे थे
भाऊ तुम्ही हे सोडीत जावा पाहिजे काय सोडू शकता नाही पण
पूरा वो जगह है ना हमारी पूरा घुमा है सब 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 जगह पूरा सूख गया था
So Renu, if you could tell us how and why you decided to sort of close the film with this. And there's also a quote that comes after this, which is not in this clip, from The Heart of Darkness, and why you decided to close the film with this.
This was an event which happened when we stepped into the creek for the second time. There is no way we could have planned this event. Actually, we stepped there, and it was a lot because of Omkar and Sunaina. Actually, that I had the strength to go there at 3 o'clock in the night, 3 a.m. in the night. But that is something production related. However, I just think that there was a certain tension building up by that time, within the shoot and within the production, not necessarily amongst us, but like with the crew and something that is happening in the field. So I just think that we went there, and then okay, we mic'd the guy and the guy who's speaking in that scene. And when I actually edited the scene, and when we got in the sound from the sound, because you have to listen to these clips of sound, that's when we realized that, I mean, of course, we understood when we were shooting, because we got to know that the foxes had come and they had eaten up all the fish. But I think this is the kind of event which sort of happens, and it kind of almost released the tension, that was in the air, that they sort of took the catch and they left. The foxes, they're scavengers almost, like they're, so it was something quite startling, and I felt like there's something of the whole, almost how we are not, actually there's so many factors that neither the fishermen nor the crew, there's completely something outside. The other thing is the chronology. If you see the way we've shot it now, okay, we had a shooting schedule, and over 5 or 6 days this happened, and then next month over 5 or 6 days. So if you see the chronology, this is more or less how it has happened, So this is the second time that we went to visit these people in the creek at night. That's when the foxes had come. So it sort of fell into place in that way. And it usually does, like if you follow the time closely. Yeah, and also the fox, the mask, the girl with the mask. Now that girl is a different girl. That's not Mansi. She stays in the village again, and she's a younger, almost. She looks 14. 15, she is 15. So she's like, and I just felt like these women characters who are somewhere always like under the surface there. Even Mansi enters the second Shubham scene actually at one point, and then she's there in first Shubham scene as well. But they are there, these women characters, and they are observing these men, And coincidentally, the camera person was also a woman. I mean, I don't know if it's a coincidence. We can say like, I'm sure there are many people here who will think that it's not a coincidence. I mean, by its nature, the topic asked for something like this, So it's almost like women are observing these men, which is the reverse of what usually happens, So yeah, so there was the fox character somehow brings in this this idea of the scavenger, but also the somebody who's observing all the time, invisible, not observing but maybe witnessing all the time, and who's just there, right under the surface is there. It's kind of building up this presence of woman in the creek, and it's a little bit contrived. It's fiction, as you can see. But this is something that I wanted to do. I wanted to build the presence of women, because how else will it kind of how else will it remain in the film that we were around there, and we were sort of witnessing what was happening.
So looking back now, it's been about a year since you finished making the film. I mean, you of course shot in 2018, but we're now in 2020. So looking back at this project that you embarked on this participatory project, that you're constructing a certain kind of image. So what is your sense now, or what have been your reflections now that you probably have some distance now from the film and from the film that you produced?
Actually, when I made the film, I felt that there was a lot that I needed to do and all that. But I think now it's more when you like, it's basically that for me, it's great that I was able to produce a film, in that sense. And but with respect to if Mehdi is around, with respect to this whole presence of women in the creek, there was something interesting that he wanted to say. Could we have?
Yeah, he can just unmute himself and speak. Mehdi.
Mehdi, if you can hear, just unmute yourself and join in, and I'll talk a little bit about the distance from which you see the film. So I think Modbhang was necessary for me at that point, because many months had been such a marathon project, and I needed a little distance from that way of documenting. Just that I needed to, sort of break out of an obsessive need to just keep recording. I mean, after a point when it becomes formulaic, it kind of saturates itself and it stops producing something new. You stop responding to time or to the present moment in the same way that you did earlier. So I think for me, many months in Mirya the method was saturated, and I needed to. So in this way, because it's a commissioned film, it has to be completed on time. I mean, I remember when I called Sunaina and I asked her if she will join me. I think I needed that, push to actually break out of a certain documenting mode, obsessive, almost obsessive compulsive documenting mode, and construct something, because it had to be made.
I think Mehdi is here, so if
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, please continue.
Hi Renu, hi Sunaina, everybody.
Hi.
I'm audible, right?
Yeah, you're audible. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, as you know, your film evoked a lot of thoughts and emotions in me, and I do have a lot of concerns. But in regards to what you mentioned, to just pick up that thread about the woman observing the characters. First of all, I would like to draw some parallels with some films that I really like, which I felt are in a similar vein. For instance, I feel that the fact that this film is about, in a way, it's about the women observing the men in a space that is not frequented by women. Women are not there. And for me, what was interesting is the possibility that maybe this is one of those rare instances in the lives of your characters where women are seeing them work in their workplace. I don't know whether the women of that village are allowed there, because I don't know that. But the film made me feel that it's a very rare occurrence, that they're actually being seen by women. It's almost like, it's a very private affair for them. They don't want the women there. And these are all assumptions that I'm making after watching the film. I don't know the reality of that place, and which doesn't matter also. But by the virtue of two women being there and two women observing them, I mean, you're taking a very political stand. That is your relationship with what you're shooting, which of course brings to mind the films of Jean Rouch, for instance. Especially his ethnographical concerns. I mean, he was an ethnographer. He wasn't even a filmmaker initially. I mean, he was an ethnographer, and then he felt that, okay, he has to make films. But he took the position of a colonizer, because he was making films in Africa, and he was a Frenchman. So he had to take the political position of a colonizer, how a colonizer is seeing them. So and by the virtue of fiction, the introduction of fiction, he was able to sort of probe his relationship with the subject, rather than just representing the subject. For instance, in Manikol's words, I mean, it was a presentation of this reality, rather than representing it. So that really interested me a lot. And also the fact that a woman was shooting them, Sunaina was shooting them. So I feel, again, it's an assumption, but I feel that had a man been there, had a man been shooting them, then maybe the characters themselves would have been slightly less theatrical, like I could make out that they were slightly cautious. Again, I mean, I already have the information that a woman is shooting them, so I don't know whether my interpretation would be very valid. But I could feel that they were slightly cautious, and they were already somewhat theatrical, which you turned into a formal element because you made the theatrical element of it very visible. That fictionality of it. I mean, you used it as a formal strategy later in the film. Like, you made it very apparent, that there is a fiction at play. There's this tension between, reality and fiction. But the characters themselves, even in the first few scenes, I felt that there was already an aspect of performance. And maybe because a woman was shooting them, they were already putting up a performance. So did you have this in mind before, deciding to work with Sunaina? Like, was it a strategy, or did that happen and then you sort of felt that I should incorporate it in my design and introduce a fictional element? Or was it very planned, right from the start, which influenced your decision of working with Sunaina, opposed to, working with a man?
Actually, by the time I asked Sunaina to join into the film, what had happened was that things had developed. I mean, our research had developed. Omkar and me had been researching. And I think, so it's not so conscious that I call only a woman, a camera person who's a woman, but it is to the extent that I felt in need of some, like a strength. My presence needed the added support of another woman. I think something like that. I'm not sure, but I think Sunaina's coming in. I mean, I could just sense it was right, because the way she, of course, the way she is she's completely. I mean, that's wonderful. But as a woman, I feel like it just felt right when she entered, because there's a certain presence which I carried as a woman, and I felt like Sunaina sort of added to that. And I don't know if I can imagine if a man had come in, and then how that would have worked, because it's like putting in a different element again into the frame, into the field, not into the frame. And then it would be like with Sunaina and me, it would be something is being added rather than something is being, what do you say, increased rather than added more, something like that. What do you think, Sunaina? I mean, do you have any thoughts of this? I definitely think that if a man had shot these characters, I think it would be different. Also, she's saying that there was a structure and all that, but when Sunaina came, I started shooting with a new camera, which was Sony A7S2, which gives a completely different image quality, which was out of my control. So the kind of colors that were chosen, or the kind of image that was, finally we see, is very much her contribution, So I remember her showing me various modes in that. So, and then we sort of decided, there was something which has much more saturated colors, and then we chose a certain. So this is, that's a lot to do with what she kind of planned. I mean, that I can never say that I know enough about the image itself. So I think that a certain gentleness or a mildness of looking at these characters came in with Sunaina as well. I mean, I can definitely.
Oh, that's because Renu, you're a gentle filmmaker.
No, I mean, but it got increased, na, with your.
Yes, I mean, but I felt that it was, I think like you had the pulse of the film, and bringing us to that pulse was important. I mean, like, you brought us to that pulse, and then we could create what, construct the image as, and I think that parameters that we slowly developed, having that, like the conscious parameters, keeping the tripod to a certain height, or like, I don't know if I should reveal these, but those kind of built the images that we see around. I'm not sure, Mehdi, whether you can tell whether it's been shot by a woman. That's because but I don't know if somebody who didn't know, would they be able to tell?
I think so. I mean, there would be a difference. I think, I mean, I can now not I don't think I can see. What do you think, Yashodhara? Would you have a strong response to that?
No, I think I don't know actually. It would be hard to say, but then I can fully get that to have a woman direct and a camera person who's a woman definitely makes a difference to what you're eventually going to produce and how it's going to look. That definitely is definitely going to be different.
I just, yeah, the reactions to other people would have, like for example, people present in the film, how they reacted to us would have been, yes.
Would have been different. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Like the way they were responding to me and Sunaina's presence both.
Yes.
I think that would have changed if that was, and that is an important part of the film, na? How the characters or the subjects were responding to us. And the second part of what Mehdi is saying about, performing, I think that it's also the stance that we both could take, which was of a certain witnessing.
Yes.
And of course I was talking to the people, so it wasn't an observational film. I call it a participatory documentation. But I think that it's a stance that you take, that you leave the stage open for the people who are the subjects to perform themselves in a way. So they do perform. I mean, I have seen it that the subjects do perform, but it can be modulated by the filmmaker's presence and the presence of the camera, and that has an effect.
If I could just ask you one more question, maybe. So, I mean, in the opening of the film, you also make your position very clear, who you are, what this village is, what your relationship with the village is, and what these circumstances are, why was that important, and is part of it a certain kind of ethical practice that you're trying to follow, or because you're representing this, you also say that this is a particular time in a particular village, at this, so what were the sort of arguments or debates you were having with yourself and with the team about this kind of representation and the ethics involved in that?
Okay, so this is a different sort of a mode. So for example, I don't know, maybe might agree with this, or that I didn't want to be representational, and this is why it was necessary for me to point that this is the moment in time and this is the place, and these are the circumstances. So then once I have given that information, then I don't need to, then I don't need to represent that information. Then my job is then to almost to see how that information enacts itself out, which is where again the performance and the semi-fictionality and the fictionality come in. That I do think that there is a huge dilemma that I face every time, because it's such a sociological, political, economic space that, and then how I don't think in any way that I can represent it, because I'm not a representative of that place. Even when you create an image, if the image is going to be, the image can enact a certain thing, which is what a director can do. I mean, it can modulate that enacting, and that's why I think it's necessary to say that this is the place, this is the time, and this is the situation, that it's monsoon, so the fishing is in the creek. And then after that, what happens is an enacting of that information. So my job is done actually in the first title card only, that, this is the information. Then I don't need to deal with it. Yeah.
Actually, if I may, I would like to add to that. This is something that just occurred to me, and also because something that Renu mentioned earlier, that it's also very important for you to make sure that the participants are enjoying, they're having a good time, and that is very apparent, and especially in the fictional sections, where you can sense that, that they are enjoying this feeling of acting for the camera. So to add to that, do you think that it could be very interesting if you, maybe you've already done that, I'm not sure, but do you think it would be interesting if you show this film to, or have you done it already, show this film to the women of that village? Because again, I feel, to add to what I said, that the women themselves might not have ever seen the men working, in those sites. So maybe your film will act as a window to the women of that village, when you show them, which is again subverting the gaze. Through the film, the women of that village will maybe, for the first time, let's assume for the first time, they will actually see their men working, and maybe you can record that as well. What the women will say to what you have shown in the film. I think that, is that an intention? Do you intend to do that? Or have you
Actually,
already
this
done that?
film was screened on Doordarshan. So, and I contacted all the subjects of the film and kind of told them that this was going to be shown and screened and please see it. And so, yes, they have seen it. I mean, I'm sure the family members must have seen it. But in the sense of a public screening in the village, I think I'm planning that. Just about to. So the film in February was completing just 6 or 7 months, out of which a few went in just resting after the film. But just planning that, and then the lockdown. So I think it will be a very interesting exercise to screen the film in the village itself, which I plan to do.
And
Yes.
one more thing. Oh, sorry.
No, please continue.
Yeah. Just one doubt I had. I mean, it's not really there in the film, but while structuring the film, like as a filmmaker, like I would like to know this from you, because you clearly had a political point to make about the absence of the women there, and two women being involved in making the film. So there are parts in the film, and of course, I mean, it's in retrospect, after watching the film, I realized that, okay, I mean, there are parts in the film where you make it very apparent, for instance, during the crab hunting scene, the man who catches the crab, he says that the woman is very aggressive, and then you have to tie the crab like this, and then also the final shot, and, so did you feel at any point while structuring the film that you might just end up overemphasizing this? I mean, it's already there, and I didn't feel it in the film, but as a filmmaker, I'm asking you, like, do you have these doubts or fears that, because you want it to be in the background, that's how it's more effective. So did
No,
you have...
I didn't really think that I would overemphasize it, or because it was happening in the flow, na. If I felt that if something was contrived too much, then that kind of gives that feel. I mean, it's also image. We are making an image. We're making a scene. So, I mean, how effortlessly things happen, kind of also give that feeling, sense of being forced, or so. Yeah, while shooting, you already get a sense that this is what he said actually in the flow of things, and the way it was shot, I think it didn't really stress what he was saying. You could just see the crab, and it was moving around, and then he's also saying his thing, and then he just waits, and then he says, okay, let's tie her. So yeah, there's actually someone in this room who's a researcher in Ratnagiri. She works in the fisheries college, and I was wondering, I mean, what her response was to the film, and because she was part of the film, we actually interviewed her, but then I didn't end up keeping the interview in the film. So if you think that we can include her, maybe we could hear what she has to. If you think that there is time, or whatever.
Yeah,
Her
she
name
wants
is
to quick responses.
Swapnaja Mohite madam. If you want to give a quick response, you can just unmute yourself and you can talk if you want. Because she really helped me. Actually, I approached her the first time, kind of asking her the question that, what is it? And she kind of said that she has an experience of, being a woman researcher in these parts. So she narrated her, her first instance of, say, working in a school in a very remote village as a academic, and as an expert. And she said that simple things like having short hair can also put people off. I was asking her, why is it that I'm having a lot of trouble in the research? And Swapnaja madam, जर थोडक्यात काही सांगता आलं तर सांगा ना. If you can quickly say.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, I must congratulate you for making such a beautiful documentary on Miria. And as we had discussed earlier, yes, people are very conservative here, and I had been facing these kind of things that you had faced during your stay in Miria village. So yeah, that is the mindset of people over here, and still, though we are progressing and now we have come out of that particular mentality, but still somewhere, you can feel that, like they look at you, look at the women as a inferior entity. And so even in this fisheries field, when you see that though majority of the work is done by women, as you go to the harbor, you will see that they are involved in so many things, so many activities. Actually, they bring the money in house, but still, uh, when the males, people look at the women over here, still we can feel that that they are not given that kind of importance. And you have very rightly put it in your film, in your this documentary, using it very subtly. It's not a very bold statement or an open statement that you have made, and but still we can feel that presence.
Thank you, thank you. I think she's being really kind, but what both of us at that moment connected on was this, that okay, so for example, women might be actually bringing in the money from fishing, but so that is their role. It's a given role to them, and everybody's used to seeing it. But when you talk about a researcher or a filmmaker or somebody who's moving around, and then that person is a woman, um, just to get information or to sort of I don't know, get people to agree to different ideas. This is, I think, which is a little bit of a
Yes, exactly. Because when might have interviewed these people, and they might have reacted differently. And if the same role would have been played by a boy or a male, then the reaction would have been different. Because that I have faced when I go to interview these people to get some data for my research work. So I can feel that. So that's why I have incorporated some boys in my staff, so that what information exactly I want, I send them to these people, and then we get different reaction.
I think what is important
So-
here is the strategy, the
Yes.
actual strategy for negotiating with your field, and this was a little bit nice for me when I was there and I met her, and I felt like, okay, there are people who are thinking in this way and who are established there. Actually, she's very established person in Ratnagiri. So, I mean, she's a teacher in the fisheries college, and she's an expert in her field. So, yeah. Okay, thank you, madam.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Thanks.
There's one question from Dr. Nitin Chavan, but I think we've covered some of it and we're also out of time. So he says, normally actors face the camera and enact a scene, but before Mansi enters the frame, her voice is heard and she's shown from the back. Her face isn't shown either in the first or second scene. That's a comment he's making. He asks how difficult or different it was for Mansi to do this. I think she's spoken about this earlier and about how this was planned. And if you all just went with the flow, I just want to let Dr. Nitin Chavan know that we've sort of covered this and he can look at the video on Facebook or on YouTube because we'll have to close now. But thank you all so much for taking the time to join Renu, Sunaina, Shubham, Sachin, Mansi, even Omkar, Mehdi, and also Swapna for joining us. It's been great. And we hope, Renu, when you made another film, that we can once again ask you to share it with us and that we can have a conversation about that as well.
Thank you. I just
Yeah,
want to
please.
add that Omkar, Mansi, and Sachin are actors. They are acting students from the Ratnagiri College.
Okay.
So all of them sort of played a different role in this film. But yeah, so if anybody has any comments or anything about their work, they can contact them as well.
Yeah. So I think we'll close now. So thank you all again for joining us. For those of you who've joined us on Zoom and Facebook, please do register with us to receive updates or follow the IHS social media handles. We'll be updating details on the film we will be discussing next month. So thanks everyone, and hope to see you next month. Have a good night.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Yashoda.
Thank you.